Hi, I'm Kendall, and I will explain what I learned and observed at the three levels. Um, and I will also explain the biggest takeaway coming from this and what I will do to use this in the future of what I did learn and observe. First, I will explain what I learned at the early childhood elementary level. I learned at the early childhood elementary level that these kids need more support. I think their support is more severe and intense. The instruction and the support from paras and the speech and language pathologists and the OT and things of that nature, because those students they're young, and when they get diagnosed with a certain disability, that they are in intense need to get them ready for the future, such as an elementary program or a high school program, is very important. I think that's where it starts, is the early childhood. Next is the elementary level. At the elementary level, I learned how, while observing the teacher, I learned how she used different strategies to cope with her students, whether it was a behavior or whether it was an academic need. And that was really good to watch, to get both backgrounds. And I also know that I am a behavior teacher in the elementary programming level. So it was really great watching that, to use things in my tool belt that I can use in the near future to help me become a better special education teacher. So the um, elementary level was pretty uh, really interested me. Not saying all of them did not interest me, but the elementary level really did interest me, because that's what I am currently, and it was amazing to go observe those hours. And last is the high school level. Um, I noticed at the high school level, you can be in a different settings. While observing this high school classroom, it was more of a behavior, social emotional support. These students were on IEPs, and but they needed more social and emotional support. So the thing I've learned while observing there was how these students use services outside of uh, the special education teachers, such as the the school social worker or a case manager or things of that such, to support them in a classroom and also in their home life. So these are supports that I learned in high school, was not just for school or the classroom, but it also was for their home and support. One of the biggest takeaways at the early childhood elementary level, the biggest takeaway was just, while observing that teacher, was just the amazement of learning how to deal with students that young. That was one of my biggest takeaways, is how do you serve and support a student with an exceptionality at that age level, because from the research and studies and things of that nature. So that was one of my big takeaways in there. One of my biggest takeaways and the elementary level was that it was the same field as me, so I know that I can use this in the near future. So one of the biggest takeaways there is just the instruction and how she administered assessment to those students and took data, and when a behavior happened, how she supported and how she handled it. So that was one of the biggest takeaways there. One of the biggest takeaways in high school level is just the different group of students that have different needs, which all three levels have different needs, but the high school level was more interesting, because you just see some of these students in the behavior part. You couldn't understand, like, some of these students, why are they there? They don't have a behavior, and you just sit there and you observe and you ask teacher questions. But I would just say the biggest takeaways is just getting to know how some of those students are supported in their home life also. So that was one of my biggest takeaways. Not just supporting them in the classroom, but their home life, like teaching them how to do laundry and things like that, being there for them, not just being a special education teacher, being there somebody that they can look up to, and they were somebody they can always remember. And also, I plan to use all this information in the future, is because I plan on staying in special education, and I just plan on using this information in the future to become a better special education teacher. 3 years from now, I don't know, I might move to early childhood elementary, and now I got a taste of different levels. Now that I can use these in my everyday special education life, and I think this was an awesome class to learn those things from, and it was an awesome thing to observe and get the knowledge and obtain it and use it. Thank you.